Greetings, YouTube. Welcome to the third world. So it's story time. And I decided to finally share bits and pieces of myself. If you look into the description of my YouTube page, you'll see that at Third World University, we work on healing through food. So when you start your healing journey, it's going to be through food. It's going to be all-encompassing things. Anything that we put on our skin topically, anything that we intake and digest. And most importantly, it's going to deal with our mental health. We have to be knowledgeable and cognizant of our mental health. So I've been digging in deep with mental health. And I can say that I started on the precipice of my mental health in 2017. That's when it started, 2017. That's about 6 or 7 years ago. So what happened in 2017, a wrecking ball came through, my life and everything that I, was experiencing. And it came through by way of my intimate relationship, with a guy. I was dating this guy, and he had a form of epilepsy where he would have seizures and everything. And we dated for about 2 years. But I really didn't get to know him like I should have. When we first met, when we first started the date, I really didn't get to know him like like you should have. Because in the period of dating is for you to collect data. Data is for you to get to know a person and then they get to know you. And you're going to want to touch on those things, your physical health, your mental health, things like that. So he had a form of he had a nodule on his brain that caused these seizures. I didn't find that out until I would say maybe the third or fourth month after we started dating. So after the fifth or sixth months, I would say after 6 or 7 months, that's when we moved in together. So, when you live with somebody, you really get to know them, everything up close and personal. So, when things started to come, I'm going to jump to the end of our relationship. I'm the type of person where and this experience with him and the experiences I had in 2017 in my relationship really transformed me, and it helped me realize a plethora of things about me in my healing journey, because it held up a mirror to me and it showed me the things that I needed to work on in myself. All of our relationships are reflections. So towards the end of my relationship with him, I didn't he began to get sick. Things got really traumatic in the relationship. And when I say traumatic, it became the things that he was going through with his health. It became too much for me. I was an empty nester. My daughter had finished school and she had moved to Philly, East Pennsylvania. Wasn't nobody but me and my cat. So when this person come along and he have all these health issues, I'm like, well, wait a minute. You see what I'm saying? It's like I became a caregiver, so to speak. You understand what I'm saying? I became a caregiver. I was taking him to his appointments, everything, checking on his health. They telling him to stay away from certain things like alcohol and tobacco because it's not good for him. Things like that. And it was something that he had an addiction to. And I didn't really see a problem coming into it with that, because I'm like, it's far more things that you could be addicted to I felt like that was worse. But as we all know, especially if we of a certain age, alcohol and cigarettes are the worst addictions because it's legal. To me, this is my point of view. And that's how I was with him. So I'm going to his doctor's appointments and everything. So come November, the end of November, right before Thanksgiving, he started to get really, really sick. He started to get sick. Now, with all of this pressure, I make up my mind that I'm going to leave the relationship. I'm like, this is over. See, but I'm the type of person that's always come with a level of compassion. And I knew I was going to, leave the relationship. But I wasn't going to leave him high and dry. I had resources, followed up to help him, get his own place, so he can have his own place with him and his children, etc., etc. But I saw the pressure that was in the relationship and the things that he was going through. That was my exit. Once I seen that he didn't have the strength, or a certain level of capacity to deal with it in a certain way, to fix whatever was going on. It was like he wasn't even trying. He was severely depressed because he missed his family. He missed his children. So, and he wasn't over his last relationship either. So, he got really sick. This was Thanksgiving. I'm going to say Thanksgiving. He got really, really sick. Really sick. The first night he got sick, he couldn't go to sleep. So he had to sit up in bed. And it was really hard for him to breathe. So I take him to the emergency room. University of Maryland. That's walking distance from me. I take him to the emergency room. They do a scan and run all kinds of tests on him. And they tell him he's in stage 4 of cancer, of lung cancer. So I'm like, wow. That was heavy. I'm going to sound real selfish. That's why I'm going to keep my comments off, but I'm in a sharing mood. So, I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all. And we're going to discuss this on my channel because of the purpose of my channel, health and wellness, and this has a lot to do with it. So I'm like, wow, that was a blow to me. And I can imagine that if it shocked me and it surprised me, how much it was a blow to him too. So, they tell us he's in stage 4 of this cancer. They write him a prescription for Percocet, and they give this man a inhaler, to open up his passageways. It's the same thing they give to asthma patients. And they send us home. So I found a lot wrong with that. And of course, they told him he had to follow up with his primary care provider. Because again, that was the emergency room. So I try to advocate for him and I try to ask certain questions. But I'm just a friend. We're not married. We have no legal ties. We don't have papers or anything. So they can't disclose any information to me, and they're not going to talk to me and share certain things with me. So I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I'm 1 foot out the relationship anyway. I'm just trying to set homeboy up. So, with resources and stuff like that. And I was so used to walking out of relationships whenever I got tired or whenever they wasn't working. I was used to controlling that part of the relationship when it came down to an exit. Always had an exit plan, always. So, I'm like, okay, so we come home. Like I stated before, he's still smoking. He's still smoking, the blunts. He's still smoking the tobacco, and he's still drinking, abusing the alcohol. So, and mind you, this man can't breathe. He's having trouble breathing, and he starts to complain about trouble breathing, but he just can't stop with the smoking and things like that. That's how bad his addiction was. So I get home from work, and he's propped up and he's sitting up in bed. And he told me how he had to sit down. I work 4 to 12, so I get off of work 12 o'clock in the morning. So by the time I get home, like 12:30, he's just like sitting up in bed, propped up, where he can't lay straight down because he can't breathe. He's telling me if he lays straight down that he felt like he's going to choke. He's going to suffocate. So he's sitting there and he's telling me about this pain running through his legs. So I'm asking him if he wants to go to the emergency room. He's saying no. So I'm like, okay. So I'm tired. I'm just getting off of work. So he's sitting up in bed. And he has the TV on. Now, like I said, guard yourself, because I'm going to sound real selfish. So this is why if I ever end up... Now, this was 7 years ago. I haven't dated anybody since. If I do, when I start dating, and depending on how far the relationship get and how we cohabitate, the young man is going to have his separate room. If I get married, if I get into a long-term relationship, I don't keep a TV in my bedroom. He watched TV. He had the TV on the whole night. So I couldn't sleep. So I'm not getting rest. I'm irritable. But how I feel is overriding how he feels and what he's going through at this point. At that point, I really didn't care because you see what I'm saying? I'm tired. I just got off of work. I mean, how much do you want to pull from me? Like I said, I had transferred to a caregiver. These people at the doctors, they don't want to share certain things with me. And that's fine because we're not married. That's okay. I don't need to marry into that type of shit. That's fine. So I asked him, he sat up all night. Now I dozed off a couple of times. I dozed off. I really didn't get a restful sleep, but I just dozed off here and there throughout the night. By that morning, I said, I'm taking you to the emergency room. He says, okay. He tries to get up out of the bed. He cannot walk. He could barely walk. I'm going to put it like that. He could barely walk. And by this time, this was a cold winter, 2017 winter. It was really, really cold. So we get downstairs and we get in the car. I take him to the emergency room. We get to the emergency room. I get a wheelchair, wheels him in. He goes through check-in. Fine. By the time the doctor comes out and gets me and takes me back to him, he has tubes and everything stuck down his throat. Where he's on a ventilate machine helping him to breathe. So this doctor was really compassionate. I told him who I was. He said, we're going to do the best for him that we can. He said, if I take that tube out his throat, he's not going to make it. So I'm like, wow, everything was just happening so fast, y'all. Everything was happening so fast. Mind you, this happened in November of 2017. August of 2017, my side dude transitioned, passed away. I'm going to repeat that for anybody else who didn't hear me. Yes, my side dude. I was dating him at the same time I was dating this young man. He passed away. So I had been through it, and I was going through it. So the doctor again, we're going to get back to the doctor. I don't mean to jump all over the place. The doctor comes back and he tells me if I take this tube and stuff out his throat, he was like, he is not going to survive. the tube, they had him on an oxygen machine. So by the time I get back there, he can hear me, but he can't talk. Y'all know how it is when somebody on life support and you know, they under. They can hear you, but they can't talk and they can't communicate whatever they're feeling or they're going through. They can squeeze your hand. He could do that. But that was the limit. That was the limit of what he can do and my experience with him before he passed. So everything was happening so fast. Happening real fast. Everything was coming quick. I barely had a chance to get myself together. And when I say that, I was still, functioning. I've never been the type of person that 2017 was really tough on me, but I'm not the type of person that'll give up. I'm going to get through it because I know I have a higher power and I have faith and trust in the Most High. So I'm continuing, to go ahead and to be self-sufficient, Like I said, it was just me. You take care of my household. It was just me. My daughter grown. All I have is a cat. Wasn't hard to take care of myself or none of that. So he gets to, he's going through, they hook him up to us too. So we're calling, I had to call his ex-wife so his children could know what was going on with him. And mind you, all of that, that space was really sensitive. The children didn't like me. The children want their parents together. So I wasn't the nicest person in the world. But mind you, for the last 2 years, I was the one who was taking care of him. Like I said, I was a caregiver. Wasn't a girlfriend. I was a fucking caregiver. And I was looking for a way out. And like I said, the relationship was over. I was looking for a way out. I saw a way out. But the Most High had other plans because what I thought was my way out ain't had shit to do with me, and I was in control of it, and that's what he showed me. So I start calling his family, right? I don't know the relationship between his children and his ex-wife. Yes, I knew that relationship, but everybody else in the family, I'm not sure of the relationship he had with them. They were loving and they were coming around. Everybody was coming up to the hospital to see him. Everybody was, involved. But I don't know, families have histories, and I don't know. The love was there, but I wasn't quite sure because when I tell you, these people were acting like pure fools. You hear me? People wanted to fight me, everything. And I was ready for it too. I was ready. So he's on life support. So I'm at the hospital. My mom didn't know what was going on. This is before my mom's health started to decline. My mom had questions. I wasn't verbal with her. I wasn't opening up to her. And this was before she moved in with me. So my mom being my mom, she had to act out in a certain way, which she, would always do before she started to get answers. So my sister finally told her what was going on. So at that point, it was like she came down to the hospital like, why didn't you tell me? And my mom loved them. And at this point, it was like, why didn't you, it was one of those things like, why didn't you tell me what was going on? Blase. We went through that. And my mom stayed at the hospital with me. I can't say the whole time because once she met his family and she heard the things that they were saying indirectly, I've always been the type of person, you can run your mouth all you want to, but you put your hands on me, that's a horse of another color. And, that's when we'll start dealing with things, but I'm not going to argue with you. My mother, not so much. You can't even say anything to her. So once she stayed in the hospital with me for at least, I would say, about a week of our stay there. But after, because she's been in nursing for as long as I've been born, and I'm 47 years old. 47 years old. So my mom experienced this. She knew what was going on. And she was trying to ease it and tell me what was going on. But I still, couldn't see. It was parts of me that still held on and thought that he would recover from what he was going through, that he was going to come up off that machine, and that we were going to fight this thing called cancer. Again, I was in my head. I saw my way out. The Most High had other plans. So, my mom was, trying to tell me what was going on, because my mom has seen death. She's been faced with death. She's always did. She's like I said, she's done nursing the whole time that I've been here, and even before I was born. So about 35, 40 years, she's been a nurse and she's been a caregiver, and she's seen people transition, So to get back on topic, she had to leave. She couldn't do it anymore because she seen how I was being treated by his family and family members, and she heard the things that was being said. So she said, "You know what, daughter, I'm gonna go." And I said, "Okay, I got it. I got my strength from her." She said, "I'm gonna go. And when you're ready, if you're ready for me to come back, or if you need me to come back, I'll come back." She was like, "But I'm getting ready to air this bitch out. So I'ma leave." I said, "Okay, I understand. I know my mother, and I know how she get down. And if she said she about to add something, she was doing me a service of letting me know, because normally she one of them type people ain't gonna say all that. She ain't gonna give you no warning. But she gave me a warning, and I just was like, okay, go ahead. If I need you, I'ma call you." So the doctors and the physicians, like I said, they honor marriage. We were not married. Fine. I'm going to drag myself into no shit like that. We wasn't married. Like I said, I was looking for a way out. I already had an attitude, because my side dude passed in August. So I really felt alone and deserted, like I ain't had nobody. So what the doctors started doing is they noticed his family members, his certain family members that were there every day. So they started what they did, and I appreciate them for handling it with the bedside manner that they handled it, because they included me in these conversations. Instead of just meeting with his family, like I said, for the last 2 years, I took care of him. So they started sitting us down, having meetings and letting us know what was going on and what was going to happen. They was like, if he doesn't show, they knew his kidneys, his organs, and everything was shutting down. So me still being in a state of, seeing miracles, and knowing what my higher power can do and the miracles that my higher power, can perform, I thought that it was going to turn around, and that I can say that I really thought that I was holding on to some type of control, but the Most High kept on showing me that you don't run shit. You don't control nothing. What I say go. Okay. Because I thought that, we would be able to fight this cancer thing. So the day comes where he's not getting better, and they sit us down and they talk to us, his family, and they let us know that they're just going to make him comfortable. They can't do anything else. That they're just going to make him comfortable. And they actually gave us an option. No, they didn't give us that option. They let us know that he wasn't getting better, and that at some point that they was going to have to take him off of life support. Now, I couldn't make the decision because, again, I wasn't the wife. So being as though his oldest heir, he has a son, was locked up at the time, he couldn't make the decision to take him off of life support. So his oldest heir wasn't available, so they had to go to his next sibling, which was his brother, and he lived out of state. So they had to call him so he can come to the hospital, and it took him days. It took him about 3 days, 2 or 3, maybe 4 days. So, and his brother was heaven sent because he was really compassionate, and like he told me, and he was like, I want you to have as much decision in this about him as they thinking that I'm going to have, because you took care of him. Want none of us around, even these family members that's hooping and hollering and walking around crying and shit, because when he ain't had nowhere to go, ain't none of them open up their door as far as I know. You see what I'm saying? Wasn't nobody around for the hard stuff. But then again, I can't blame them for that, because like I said, I don't know their relationship. You see what I'm saying? I don't know the relationship he had with his family, but I knew love was there. And so anyway, we made the decision to take him off of life support. We made the decision. So I called my job, let them know what was going on. They were really understanding, as they always are. They were really understanding. They were there for me, telling me, letting me know if I needed them or I needed anything, I could call them. So we make the decision to take him off. So, the family get around his bedside. We play his favorite music. And they unhook the machine and they take him off. And the time of death, I really don't like using the word death because energy never dies. So I'm just going to say the time of his transition was 12:23. Exactly. It was 12:23 a.m. 12:23. So we do that, and he had long. Both of us had dreads. Both of us had long, not dreads, locks. Both of us had long locks. So one of his sister wanted some of his something of his to remember him by. So what I did is, after he transitioned, I had some scissors and I cut his hair, and I gave her like a bunch of his hair. Nobody said anything, but I saw them looking. So everybody, the family, got on the elevator, got on, we proceeded to leave, the hospital. We got on the elevator on our way down. Now, when we exited the hospital, right there in the lobby, you really have to be sensitive when people are in mourning and you're speaking to them, because the person that just went through all of that, which was me, and I know his family was sensitive too, because they were going through it as well. You have to be careful of what you say, because I was really sensitive, and I was in a state of delusion and confusion. I was still shook up. Like I said, 2 deaths. Those 2 deaths in 2017. That was the tip of me really digging in and me starting on my journey, my healing journey. That was like the catalyst, those 2 losses. So they invited me up to the house for Thanksgiving and the holidays. And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, I'm not going or to be around anybody for the holidays. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't in the right state of mind with what just happened. I wasn't in the right state of mind. So I ain't messing around. I ain't calling nobody. What I did was I secluded myself. And I went in. It was winter. It was already winter time. Like I said, it was really, really cold. But we hadn't approached, this was in November, we hadn't approached the winter solstice yet, but it was really cold outside. It was just frigid, bone curdling cold. I'm used to being by myself anyway. Like I said, I was an empty nester. So I just went home and I secluded myself. And I shut myself up. I was still eating, and sleeping and things like that. But I just secluded myself, and I was purging. I was crying. I was really, really, really sensitive. So I'm going to start this story up again and give y'all the rest of it, because I don't want to go over 30 minutes on these videos. Because when you think of a person's regular and normal attention span, you like me, speaking for myself, I can't deal with or listen to anything longer than 30 minutes. I can, but it's sort of hard. So I'm going to pick this story up in another video. Welcome to the third world. And until the next video, deuces. And remember, this is about our healing journey. Well, my healing journey. All right. I love y'all. Bye.